Hi, it's Greg Dwyer. Welcome to Mindful Conversations. I'm really excited today because my guest is Fran Clem, and I met Fran about 4 or 5 months ago at a presentation that I did here in Litchfield, The Magic of Communication. We became friends, and about a month or so ago, she was on my radio podcast, and then today she's going to be on the second half, and we're going to talk about creativity. Most people think when they have a problem that they have to solve it with knowledge. You know, we have any difficulty in life and we try to figure it out. Maybe we bring people into the equation to help us. Creativity is more important than knowledge, actually. Einstein said that. With knowledge, we're focused on limited amount of information. But when we focus on creativity, the whole world opens up to us. And when we bring other people into our lives and we ask questions and we have a mastermind as far as trying to figure out ideas, we tap into this creativity. Now, anybody that's in business has a business card. And what's on a business card? You have a person's name, you have a telephone number, maybe you have a website. And that business card is always about the person that is handing out the business card. So I decided to do something with a creative slant. I created a business card that really isn't about me at all. It's about the other person. And I have 5,000 of these business cards. And on one side it says, I know you can't read it, but on one side it says, what 7 things are you grateful for? So I keep these with me everywhere I go. And when I strike up a conversation with someone, I say, here, what do you think of this? And I hand it to them, and it says, what 7 things are you grateful for? And on the back of the card, it's a 7 of diamonds. Now, I actually didn't think this through. One day, it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. In my presentation, The Magic of Communication, I talk about George Miller and the report that he came up with in 1956 called The Magical Number of 7. And throughout my presentation, I talk about 7 things, 7 secrets. And so I decided, with creativity, mind you, to create this business card, what 7 things are you grateful for? So if you were just to take this and take it seriously every single day of your life, at the end of the year, you would have 2,555 things that you're grateful for. Of course, you'd have to write them down. So if you'd like this business card, if you'd like this little reminder, this trigger, just email me at greg@gregdwyer.com and I will send you one of these in the mail, okay? So just do that. All right, so my guest today is Fran Clem. We're going to talk about creativity, and I want to share with you, before we bring her on, how I came up with this logo. This is my logo. And most people, when they see it, they think of Greg Dwyer. But it has a lot of meanings. But one of the meanings that I focus on is you have to have a great destiny for your life. You know, a lot of times people they kind of float through life and they don't do anything. They don't plan. In fact, some people, they spend more time planning their vacation than they do their life. Now, the way that this came about was about 20 years ago, I was in direct sales. I was a minister in Cleveland, Ohio, making about $18,000 a year. And I think the secretary was making 15. And a friend of mine approached me about a business ordeal. At first, I didn't want anything to do with it, but then I got involved. And once I got involved, I realized I didn't know what I was doing. I was terrible at it. So I started reading books, going to seminars, listening to tapes, doing anything possible to get the cutting edge as far as being a salesperson and a business person. And I will tell you, it didn't happen overnight. But I read books, listened to tapes, went to seminars, got around people that were millionaires, and I began to harvest information that helped me in my business. I made some money. I didn't make a lot of money. I never became a millionaire at it. But around the year 2000, a friend of mine reached out to me with a business idea, which was a day planner with coaching. And we went into it together, and I put together a coaching program. And I thought to myself, how can I take all the information that I learned over the last 5, 10, 15 years, package it together, and actually be able to share it with people in a very simple way? And I decided that I wanted to teach people with the metaphor of a game. Everybody knows the game of baseball, right? This is home base, right? You start here. Then you go to first base. Then you go to second base, third base, and obviously you want to get home. This is how you play the game of baseball. I grew up in New Fairfield, Connecticut. My father was a great fan of baseball, and he wanted me to be a great fan of baseball as well. Took me to Little League, and everybody pretty much in the United States knows about baseball, that you start here and you have to run the bases. I thought about life as a game, I thought about business as a game, and I thought, well, how can I teach people in a simple way this process around the diamond? And this was many years ago. The first thing I came up with is D, right here, home base. The D stands for desire. Desire. I mean, I talk to people that want to be speakers. I talk to people that want to write a book. I talk to people that want to travel to Italy or Israel, or they want to do something outside of their comfort zone. What I look for is I look for desire. A person has to have desire. If you've ever listened to Les Brown, he talks about being hungry, really having the desire to do something, maybe changing a career, maybe getting married, maybe traveling, maybe starting a business, maybe writing a book. A lot of times people wish that life would change for them, or they wish they could do something like travel or write a book or be a speaker or do something like a business. Wishing will never actually help you play this game. You have to have desire. Desire to take action. And the reason why this has to be really strong, and I'll tell you the reason. We love comfort. We love things to be the same, day after day the same. We love security. But anybody that looks at life realizes you don't have security in life. I mean, eventually you know what's going to happen. So desire is going to push you outside of your comfort zone to do something that you're afraid of doing. I remember the first episode I did here in Litchfield at the studio. And I came in and I was really nervous. This is our 5th episode. We're doing another one tomorrow. The more you do it, the more you feel comfortable, which gets me to the next D. The next D is discipline. You have to have desire to do something, but you also have to have the discipline to show up and to do the work. That's important. Whether someone offers you a cable television show, or someone offers to help you write a book, or maybe you want to start a business, or you want to travel, whatever it is, I don't know what that would be for you. But I know you can't just talk about it. You have to have desire, but you actually got to take action. You have to move. And this is taking action. Imagine hitting the ball, over here and not moving over to here. It wouldn't make sense. I would say, hey, this doesn't make sense. You probably don't have a lot of desire. Desire is the first step. Discipline is the second step. You have to have discipline. Now, I've been in sales for many years, and I think everybody is in sales. Because let's face it, no matter what you want in life, you have to work with people, you have to influence people, you have to persuade people. The next D is dialogue. Dialogue. You're not going to win this game all by yourself. If you're in sales, you have to do outbound sales. If you're working for a company, you have to get along with your boss. If you're married, you got to get along with your spouse. Dialogue is working on your communication skills to influence the other person. Maybe it's telling your child to go to bed at 9 o'clock and getting them to do it, Or maybe it's getting that promotion, or asking your boss for some time off, or getting a paid holiday, or I don't know what it would be for you. But all I can tell you is you have to master this base, which is dialogue. Learning how to communicate with people and realizing that people communicate from their point of view, not yours. And this is a skill. I'm a graduate of Dale Carnegie. I highly recommend that, reading the book at least. But realize, to win this game, you have to have dialogue skills. The next D is disappointment. So we have desire, we have discipline, we have dialogue, and disappointment. Now let's face it. Just because you venture out and do something different. Now, I don't know what that would be for you. You're going to face failure or disappointment. Things aren't always going to go right here, or something's going to happen here. You're going to have to face that. So this whole metaphor of baseball is what I taught people for years. And it all came from this concept of creativity. I didn't sit there with a calculator. I didn't sit there with a book and try to figure this out. All I did is I reflected on all of the things that I studied on for years, on personal growth, sales, all of that. And I boiled it down to these 4 things. And I listened to so many people, and I said, let's just make this a game. Let's make life a game. Let's make business a game. You have to have desire. You have to have discipline. You really do. You have to work on your communication skills, which is dialogue with people, and you're going to have to understand that you are going to be disappointed in life, and you're also going to be disappointed in sales, whatever you do. Sometimes it's just a matter of recognizing that you take a couple steps forward and then a couple steps back. You make some money, then you lose some money. Mastering this mindset, mastering these modules, if you will help you tremendous. If you'd like more information on this, I have a free course. I recorded this. I got like 10 videos. You can have it for free. Just email me at greg@gregdwyer.com. There's 10 audios. It's yours for the taking. Do whatever you want with it. You definitely have to have the desire to email me. You have to have the desire to listen, to take action, and to learn these skills. The reason I share this with you is because it all happened by me being creative, by me just tapping into this magical power, if you will, and realizing that this is an easy way to share this information with people. So my guest today is Fran Clem. She's an artist. She lives right here in Litchfield, Connecticut. I've known her for a couple months, probably January, February, when she came out to one of my workshops. She has a studio, and what she focuses on is helping not only children, students, but also adults to tap into their creative power. Because let's face it, you go to school today, they'll teach you 1 + 1 = 2. They'll teach you who discovered America. They'll teach you facts, all these facts. But they're not going to necessarily teach you about how to be creative and how to step out and paint outside the lines and to do something different. And so she's going to bring that gift to you. You're going to want to stay and listen to what she shares, how she makes a difference in people's life. So we will be right back after this break with Fran Clem. And you want to come back for it. Welcome back. We are back with Fran Clem. She's my guest today. The topic is creativity. We all know about 1 + 1 = 2. We all know about going to school and get the facts, but we're with Fran today talking about how to tap into our creative power. So Fran, thank you for being on the show today.
It's so great to be back with you again after the podcast. I really love this opportunity to talk about creativity.
Yeah. So how did you get involved with this? Were you always seen as a creative child? Were you always, painting outside the line? What's the story about this? I'm really interested.
I always loved to draw. I think there's a genetic link. I had a grandparent that was an artist, and I started taking classes when I was very, very young. The first piece that I had in a museum in Davenport, Iowa, I was 5 years old. I never got it back, but that was quite an experience for a kindergartner to have. But I took some lessons with a Hungarian artist when I was young, and just has always loved doing creative pursuits, whatever that is. It might be art, it might have been sewing or cooking or something, you know, but that has always been a very, very core thing for me. So.
Yeah, I love creativity. When I was a kid, it was magic, and you really don't learn magic or performing in front of a group of people with logic. It's emotion, it's creativity, and I guess it's what they call the right brain. Do I have that right?
Right brain is where your creativity comes from. Yes, I like to tell people I have no left brain because I'm very math challenged.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
yeah.
I love geometry, but that had to do with shapes.
Yep.
So
sure.
that was my thing. But I think your creative side is something that doesn't not necessarily get a lot of stimulation and a lot of honoring these days, because so much has taken over with technology and all the other aspects of life today that we have lost the importance. We are wondrous, wondrous beings. We have a body, we have a mind, and we have a spirit. And unless and until we learn that we have to think about what all three aspects of our beings need and honor and pursue and grow those things, then we become imbalanced and unhappy, and you know, that's my theory.
Yeah, I think you're right. You know, people go to work, they punch the clock, they come home, they're in a routine, and they live maybe for the weekend to do something creative, but you know, I think in the schools it's taken away, right? I mean, you don't see too many programs these days.
It's hard for children to get it into their schedules, especially in the older grades. If you have like a middle school or high school where you're changing rooms all day long and you have to get the core subjects, I hear all the time, I can't get it in, you know, I just don't have that time in my schedule. And as far as art goes, in the schools, it requires filling criteria and meeting a grade.
I see.
So the freedom to explore and experiment isn't necessarily as open as it would be if that wasn't part of your class experience. I think it's amazing what the art teachers do. I love going to the shows that they have, just show the students work that they've done through the years, and it certainly is a benefit, for them to have that. But one of the things I love to do is encourage mistakes. A mistake is an opportunity to learn something new.
Yes.
And that's the way that we learn and grow. Everybody did. I love your quote from Einstein. That is just so key to how we should pursue things. And you learn new things by making mistakes and keeping on. Just like your diamond, you just keep going.
Well, I think in society, if you go to work and you're, going and showing your resume and you do an interview and you get hired for a job and you're like, I plan to make mistakes until I figure this out, you're probably not going to be patted on the back. You're probably not going to get rewarded. There has to be some cultures in our society, businesses, where they applaud mistakes. They applaud people for learning. But in our society, I remember math, I remember school. It's like, you've got to get this right. And they don't give you the license to explore.
And who says that maybe making a mistake in a business world would not be a good thing? Just because it's been done this way and this is the system doesn't necessarily mean that's the best way to do things.
Right.
And by somebody messing up and then maybe finding a new way to approach it, it could open up a whole new field of business for that occupation. So that's what I'm hoping. People can stay open to the possibilities and not freeze up about, I'm going to do it wrong. I can't do this. Because I see a lot of anxiety, unfortunately, today. There's a lot of pressure to do it right, whatever that means in a person's head.
Sure.
And one of the things I love to do in my studio is when I work with grown-ups is something I call creative chrysalis. Of course you can fly, but first the cocoon has to go.
Oh, okay.
So people that come in and say, oh, I don't have a creative bone in my body, I think, do you cook? Do you sew? There are all different ways to be creative. And to sit down with some art materials and just start experimenting and exploring and making marks on a surface, all of a sudden you can just see the relaxation happen.
Right.
And that's the balance that's missing, I believe, in so many people.
Right.
You don't have that time just to say, wow, you know, look at this, what I made.
And I think when someone goes to a show, they go to either a concert or they go to a play on Broadway, and it moves them emotionally.
Oh, yes.
You know, there's creativity happening there, and maybe they say to themselves, oh, not me, I can't do this. But we all have some of it.
We all do.
So you help people in your home. Tell us about what your mission is, how people can get a hold of you, and how you can be really a blessing in this community.
Well, that's very nice. I love the idea of being a blessing. I have a painting that I did on my studio wall that says, art is God made visible.
Oh, wow.
And when I say the word art, I mean any form of creativity. That's the spiritual component of us that we have, that we can use to develop and grow that spiritual being that we are, along with our mental and physical components. So when children come into the studio, we have a lot of time to learn about what other artists have done, to learn the basics, like what are the basic, the primary colors, and what are the basic shapes. Because if you can draw a dot, can you draw a dot, Greg?
Yes.
Okay. Can you make a line?
Yes.
You know, a line is a dot that went for a walk.
That's cool.
Paul Klee, very famous artist.
Oh, very nice.
So so that dot's going for a walk. Then if that line bends, it becomes a curve.
Right.
And if you can do that, then you can make a circle.
Wow.
And if you put two of those lines together so that they make a point, that's an angle line.
Right.
If you can do those shapes, you can do everything.
Wow.
Because you can break down a Monet, any famous painting, a Michelangelo, and find those basic shapes. So if we think about that, those basic shapes leading you into something more complicated, then that's a little freeing than saying, oh, I can't draw a bear or something. You know?
Exactly.
So it starts with that. I love having children find out about other parts of the world and cultures that we can exchange work with, or we can help out by contributing to a project. There are two projects that I do. One is the Global Art Project for Peace, which is a biennial exchange for peace.
Okay.
When we register, we are matched with a group or an individual artist in another part of the world. We just had an exchange with artists in Bohemia.
Wow, that's
and
great.
It's wonderful to see, to learn a little bit about their life, their culture, their financial situation. Children, I think everybody has an iPhone and a bed and plenty to eat, and to find out about some of the things that are happening in other parts of the world, and what they can do maybe to reach out and to connect and to honor those people by giving them a piece of their creativity. The other one I found is something called the Memory Project, and that is a young man started several years ago, and he wanted to give these children in refugee camps in third world countries something. So he got in touch with his art teacher from high school in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And he said, if I sent you some photographs, would your students make some portraits? Well, there have been hundreds of thousands of these done. We get the photographs, and my students are pretty young to be doing a likeness, so they do a lot of work with the face on the computer, photo manipulation, with the filters to make it look painterly. And then they do their own background. It can be abstract, it can be a landscape, it can be sky, whatever they want to do, and that's superimposed. We just did we just sent portraits to Puerto Rico and got a video back of those children with the devastation of the tornado and their schools destroyed and the homes that they have lost. And the looks on their faces, seeing what someone had done to give them something, was, there are no words to describe it. Yep. So I do that every year with my young artists. So
you're making a difference.
I'm hoping to. That's all
I
can do is give them the space and the materials and talk a little bit about what some of the things are that are involved, and
Okay.
and then step back.
So give a plug if they want to find you, whether it's the tri-state area or whether it's anywhere in the United States or internationally. Do they go to Facebook? Do they go to a website? Do they
Yes.
call you? What do you want? What do you want them to do?
Well, I do have a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's Frances Clem Studio, and it's Frances for those of you who don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, and my last name is Clem, and you
Okay.
can probably Google it, and it will come up.
Yes.
That's my website and, as well, and I have email. It's CLEM, all lowercase,
Okay.
underline archkids@yahoo.com.
Okay.
So any one of those ways, you can get in touch with me. I'm off for the summer now, but I do have private lessons. People call me to ask if I can spend some time with them or a child, and I kind of have a looser schedule. And then when school starts, we schedule regular sessions with different age groups, and that goes pretty much throughout the school year. Follow the school schedule. If they have a vacation, then I do too.
So you're looking at students, but you also work with adults too, right?
I do.
Okay, that's
yes,
great.
The Creative Chrysalis has been a gift for me as well,
Nice.
because it's nice to have adult time. I had a church group from Warren, Connecticut, not too long ago, the Church Chicks.
Oh, wow.
And we had a great time.
Wow.
Just being
That's great.
just having fun. And I do have some videos that I can share.
Sure.
There's a wonderful man, he's a photographer. He worked for National Geographic for many years by the name of DeWitt Jones. Look him up on Facebook or on his website. The name of his site is Celebrate What's Right with the World.
Good.
So it gives you this wonderful feeling of positivity and inspiration about your creative energy. And he just started a Facebook page where people can post things that they have made.
Nice.
So I love going there because with all the stress and derision and division that there is now, I need this positivity, and
Yes.
I'm hiding posts on Facebook a lot now. I don't want to see all the negativity.
No, true.
It's
Now, we did something really fun before you took this chair.
Yes.
I asked you to think of a color. I think
did.
I gave you red. I think I gave you yellow. I think I gave you green, and I gave you blue. And I said, just think of one of those colors. You thought of it. You didn't tell me. You didn't tell anybody
did
here in the
not.
studio.
Nobody
knows about
Nobody
it.
knows.
Now, I'm going to take a guess. It's an educated guess. And I'm thinking it's not red. Am I right? Am I right? So it's not red. It's not red. Okay, it's not red. I'm pretty sure it's not red. So that leaves me with yellow. That also leaves me with green, I think, and the blue. And I'm going to take a guess. You're wearing blue glasses, almost blue. I think, are they blue? They are blue. No, you got a little bit of color in it.
Color on there, yeah.
I'm going to say that you thought of the color blue. Did you?
I did.
Do you have the paper?
I do. How does he do this? I don't understand. It's magic.
Let's see. Oh, you did it. Look how creative. Not only did she pick blue, I know you probably
of course.
can't see
I
it here,
couldn't
but
just
you
write
also you were very creative in writing
you.
this down.
Thank you.
So this is amazing. I haven't had anybody ever do that. So yeah, so she wrote down blue. So Fran, thank you so much.
I tried so hard to fool you. I was looking at your tie. I
Yeah?
said, he's going to say red.
Wow.
Fun.
Well, I tell you, creativity is really important. So get a hold of Fran Clem. Reach out to her on Facebook. If you live in the tri-state area, you're definitely going to want to work with her. And if you're out of state, just realize that you are a divine creative being and you can do what anyone else has done. I can see we're out of time, Fran. Thank you so much. I hope we gave you something to think about it.
Thanks, Greg.
See you next time.